All right, are we live? All right, perfect. What's up, everybody, and welcome to my channel, the place to be for new digital advertisers. In today's live stream video, I want to talk about how you can get started with online advertising. This is Digital Advertising 101, so this is meant for brand new beginners on, maybe you're from the traditional world and you're looking to migrate online and you want to learn more about how to get started online with advertising, then this video is for you. In this video, we're going to talk about the big picture about how online advertising works. We're also going to get into the different ad networks available, why you may want to consider advertising online and the benefits of that. And then last but not least, how you're charged with online advertising and the different pricing models available. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this. I'm going to go ahead now. I see some people joining the stream. Welcome if you're joining now. This is live, so happy to have you guys here. Let's go ahead and get started with this presentation. So let's first talk about the big picture. How does online advertising work, right? What is it that we're trying to do here? So it's really this simple. The big picture is you want to show the right ads to the right people using the right ad platforms at a profit. And that's successful advertising. It really is that simple, right? Show the right ads. So get your message in front of the right people using the right platforms, because different platforms have pros and cons. Different platforms have certain things that they're good at, other things that they're not so good at, and you want to do so at a profit. And that is it essentially at a very high level. Now, the formula that you're really trying to optimize for and to make sure that it's in your favor is CPA less than LTV. So what this means is, as long as your cost to acquire a customer is less than the lifetime value of that customer, you will essentially have successful advertising, right? Because if it costs you $100 to acquire a customer and that customer is worth $1,000, then you are profitable, right? And that is the goal with advertising. Again, so online advertising, the goal is to show the right ads to the right people using the right platforms at a profit. And the formula that you're playing is CPA less than LTV, your cost to acquire a customer less than the lifetime value of that customer. So one of the biggest mistakes people make when they start advertising online is they don't realize that advertising online does come down to the numbers, and it is very mathematical. You want to make sure that you're doing the numbers, you're doing the math to make sure that this formula is in your favor, that your cost to acquire a customer is less than what that customer is worth to you, because if not, you're going to lose money, right? So this is the big picture. From here, let's talk about why digital advertising and why this is something you may want to consider if you've been on the online world just for a few, maybe just started, and you're getting new to this and you're still on the fence, right? You're not really sure why you want to consider online advertising. So first and foremost, with digital advertising, the ability to target is unprecedented. Never have we had the ability to do the targeting that we have right now with digital advertising. You can target specific devices with digital advertising platforms such as desktop, mobile, and tablets. So if you only want to show ads to people who are using their desktop computers, you can do that. People who are only using their smartphones, you can do that, and so on and so forth with tablets. The other thing as well is genders. You have the ability to target specific genders. So if you notice that, let's say 70% of your customer base is women and you want to target women only, you have that ability with digital advertising. And the same thing goes with men. If you want to target only men, you can do that, or you can target both, but you have the option available to get very specific. The next thing as well is income. You can target specific levels of household income with most of these ad platforms out there, especially on Google. I know you can do this. So for example, you can target people who are in the top 10% of household income, 11 to 20%, 21 to 30%, 31 to 40%, and the lower 50%. Again, so you can get that right message in front of the right person. So you have the ability to target very specifically with digital advertising. The next thing as well is control. That's another big advantage of digital advertising over traditional media, is the control available to you. So for example, you have complete control over the location targeting, your budget, and your campaign status. So for example, let's say you wanted to show 20% of your budget to people in the state of Florida. You can do that. Or 20% of your budget to the people in Michigan. Or if you wanted to target people within 15 miles of your practice, 15 miles of your business location, you can do that. You have complete control over your location targeting. The other thing as well is your budget. With digital advertising platforms, you get to say how much you want to spend on your campaigns, either for the month or for the day. So for example, if you said, I only wanted to spend $20 a day, you have that ability to set that cap where you can only spend $20 a day. And this is the huge advantage of digital advertising, is you have a lot of control versus traditional media. You know, you get locked in a contract, you have to keep spending whatever that retainer is, and you know, you're kind of stuck in there until the contract expires, or you have to pay a premium to break that contract. With digital advertising, you have complete control over where your ads are being shown and how much you want to spend in order to get your ads to be shown in those specific locations. So for example, if you're running ads and let's say you wake up on a Tuesday morning and you don't want to do this anymore, you can just go into your campaigns and pause your campaigns. So, you know, you're not locked into a contract, so to speak, where you have to keep serving your ads. So next is scale. The ability to scale your advertising to reach more people is really insane with online advertising. So for example, Google, there's 3.5 billion searches every single day on Google. Facebook, there's 2.6 billion monthly active users. YouTube, there's 2 billion monthly active users. And LinkedIn, there's 260 million monthly active users. And these numbers are only growing. And these different platforms here, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, they all have the ability to show ads on their different platforms to get in front of these massive audience sizes of people who are using these different platforms. And last but not least is just digital advertising works. It's very effective, and it's continuing to become more and more effective with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation improving over time. This is an example of a client of mine who generated 139 calls during this COVID crisis. This was from April through May this year during this coronavirus pandemic. And you can see that they're still generating leads and getting in front of their ideal customers using online advertising. So last but not least, let's talk about now the different ad networks involved and really give you a good lay of the land on what's possible with digital advertising. So really you can kind of bucket it into 3 categories. You have the search networks, you have social networks, and then you have the display network. So search networks, this is your Google ads, your Microsoft ads, you know, or otherwise known as Bing ads. Social networks, this is your social media platforms. You got Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, etc. There's a lot of social media ad platforms. And then display, this is where you have all the different banner advertising. So for example, the Google Display Network, Taboola, Outbrain, these are all these programs, these platforms out there to help you do banner advertising on these different websites. And I want to go and show you an example of each one of these. So for example, with search, if I go to Google and I search dentist near me, you're going to see different ads that pop up based on your location. And these are Google ads. You can see there's like a little black font right here next to the ad. That's an ad. That means this advertiser is paying to show up when I search dentist near me. And that's one of the big advantages of search advertising, is you can get in front of people when they're actively searching for what it is you have to offer. So you can see this is an example of Google ads. You also have this with Bing, the same thing. If somebody goes to Bing and they search dentist near me, you can show up at the top and meet that person when they're searching for what it is you actively have to do. And again, in the specific locations that you offer. So, you know, if you offer services in Miami, you're not showing your ads in Alaska. So you have a lot of control. Next one is social. So Facebook ads. I'm sure you're familiar with Facebook ads. I'm sure you've seen them. If you haven't noticed that they're a Facebook ad, just go ahead and take a look. When you see the ad in your newsfeed, you'll see something saying sponsored, and that's how you know it's an actual paid advertisement. And for example, me, myself, I'm somebody who's really interested in digital advertising and YouTube. And you can see here, I'm seeing an ad here that's promoting to learn more about digital advertising. And I'm seeing an ad here to learn more about YouTube. So again, that ability to target people with the right message is insane right now with the digital world. Next up, YouTube. I'm sure you're familiar with these ads. These are the 5-second ads until you can skip them. Those are examples of YouTube ads. You also have discovery ads, which are the ads that are not actually in your video, but they're like in the thumbnail. That's a discovery ad. So these are all different. Again, this is, I'm not expecting you to like understand this 1000%, but this is to show you what is possible and the lay of the land and the landscape, and how all these different ad platforms are available for you to get your message in front of the right person. And then social. So LinkedIn is another huge platform, especially on the business to business side of things. And this is an example of what a LinkedIn ad looks like. So you can see here in the feed of my LinkedIn feed, I'm seeing an ad here from Outreach. You can see here, this is what they call a sponsored content ad on LinkedIn. And then you also have the ad here on the right hand side as well. So many options. We can literally just talk about ad platforms for an hour and all the different things you can do on each platform. It's pretty crazy, but I just want to show you what is possible and kind of get your ideas flowing, if you will. And then last but not least, display. So this again is those banner ads that I was talking about. So when you go to different websites, especially the blogs and articles, and you're reading an article, so this is an example on the New York Times. You know, you're reading the New York Times, and then on the top of the New York Times here, you see this big banner ad by WordPress. This is an example of a display ad. So with banner ads, with display advertising, you can target weather stations in your local area. You can target all these different top websites. As long as they are part of the Google AdSense program, you can show banner advertising on these different websites that, again, your dream prospect or customer may or may not be using, right? Now let's talk about pricing. How does it work with digital advertising and pricing? How do you get charged, right? How do you pay to get in front of these people? So you have three models that these different digital advertising platforms usually subscribe to. So you have the CPC model, the CPM model, and then you have the CPA model. So CPC model is your cost per click. So meaning you're gonna get charged on a per click basis. So for example, Google Ads follows the CPC model. So if somebody goes to Google and again, they search dentist near me, your ad pops up at the top. You're only gonna get charged if somebody actually clicks on your ad and goes to your website. You're not gonna get charged if somebody just sees your ad and they don't actually click on it. So that's an example of a CPC model in terms of pricing. The other one is CPM. This is cost per 1,000 impressions. So a CPM model means you're gonna get charged for the cost to reach 1,000 people. So CPM is more based on visibility and brand awareness. So CPM is you're gonna get charged for however much it costs you to get 1,000 eyeballs on your ad. That's an example of CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. Impressions, if you're not familiar, means just eyeballs on your ad. And then the last one is CPA. This is cost per acquisition. So CPA means you're gonna get charged on an acquisition basis, on a conversion basis. So for however much you decide that you wanna pay per conversion, you're gonna get charged based on that number. So certain platforms allow you to do cost per acquisition bidding, other ones don't, but this is a third option for you. Now, I hope you got tremendous value out of this presentation. I just wanna quickly recap what we learned in this presentation today. Again, just to give you a lay of the land. By the way, if you're not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel here on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you're not already. And if you want to learn more about Google Ads specifically, feel free to join the Google Ads Pros Facebook group, and I'll link that in the description box down below. And you can join, ask questions, and get direct help with Google advertising. But I want to quickly recap through these slides and really drive some points home to really make sure you understand here. So first and foremost, the biggest thing about digital advertising and the biggest advantage of digital advertising is the ability to really target people specifically based on location, devices, income, gender. You have some advanced targeting options to get very specific in making sure your ad reaches the right person. The next thing as well is control. You can really get crazy with how you can almost be like a control freak, to be honest with you, and get very specific in terms of how your ads go about serving. You can choose specific locations you want to show your ads in. You get to decide how much you want to spend on your budget. And also you get to decide whether or not your campaigns are running or whether they are paused. You're not on any fixed contracts. And then last but not least, when it comes to showing ads, to get your ad in front of the right person, you have a lot of big platforms out there that have billions and millions of users of your dream customers that you can pay these platforms to get in front of them. You have the search platforms like Google, you have the social platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and then you have the display platforms like the Google Display Network where you can show ads on these different websites that your consumers might be visiting on a frequent basis. And again, to drive this last point home, really what you're trying to do here, because you can get, once you start to get into this world of digital advertising, you're going to start really learning the ins and out of each platform and what's possible. And you're gonna get so caught up in like the tips and the tricks and the hacks and the how-tos, which is fine, but just don't lose sight of the big picture, which is the reason you're running these ads in the first place is to be able to acquire customers for less than what they are worth, right? The CPA less than the lifetime value. And I know it sounds simple to say that, but you'd be surprised how many people forget that when they start going down the rabbit hole. So don't forget that. And then last but not least, really all you're trying to do is to show the right ads to the right people. So show the right ads, meaning you want to make sure that your ad resonates with whoever it is you're going after. The offer that you're going to put in front of these people resonates to the right people. If you're targeting people within 15 miles of your practice, make sure your ads are showing within 15 miles of your practice and not in another state where you're not helping people in that state. And then using the right platforms based on your marketing strategy, your digital advertising strategy. You may want to use certain platforms together, and this is a little bit more advanced, but I'm just trying to really paint this picture for you. And then last but not least, you want to make sure that you are at a profit, right? That what you're doing is actually generating a return on investment. So in order to understand whether or not you're at a profit, that means you need to have measurement and tracking in place to really make sure these platforms are doing justice for you. So make sure you don't skip out on the tracking. That's another thing too with digital advertising, is the ability to track your return on investment is pretty crazy. So make sure you take the time, you do it yourself or you hire somebody to make sure that you are measuring the performance of these different campaigns you're running on these different platforms so that you're actually having successful advertising. I hope you got tremendous value out of this video. If you can like this video, give it a thumbs up. That'll help me get it ranked higher in the search engines. And if you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel for future content on digital advertising. And if you want more specific content around Google Ads and you want to learn how to reach people when they're actively searching for your services, feel free to join the Google Ads Pro community, and I will link that in the description box down below. Thanks so much. I will see you in the next one. Take care.